it's Chris Allingham with Virtual Weber Bullet. I'm back for another Q&A. It's May 2019. I'm out in the backyard finally. The weather is beautiful, it's clear, no more rain, and I thought I would get out of the garage and into the backyard and answer some of your questions that I've received through email and through the Virtual Weber Bulletin Board and through social media channels. Before I take your questions, I just want to remind you that May 25th is our 15th annual Weber Smokey Mountain Smoke Day. This is the day when Smokey Mountain Cooker owners all over the world cook in their backyard, and they come back to the Virtual Weber Bulletin Board at TVWB.com to share what they cooked. It's a fun event. It's a virtual backyard barbecue, essentially, and I'd like to invite you to participate. You can learn more by visiting WSMSmokeday.com. That's WSMSmokeday.com. If you don't have a Smokey Mountain Cooker, you can still participate with a Weber kettle or with any other grill you like. We celebrate on the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend, which is May 25th this year. If you can't celebrate that day, you can celebrate the day before or the day after, or a week before or a week after. It really doesn't matter as long as you get into the spirit of things and participate with us in Weber Smokey Mountain Smoke Day. I also want to remind you that you need to order your Smoke Day t-shirts right away. This is this year's t-shirt. It's available at represent.com. I will put the URL up on the screen as well as in the description of this video. You need to order this ASAP because it takes a week to produce and about 5 to 7 days to ship. So if you order now, you will get this in time for Smoke Day on the 25th. A small portion of the purchase goes to help support the discussion forum, so I thank you in advance for your support of the forum. Also, if you're participating in Smoke Day, make sure to pin yourself on the Smoke Day map. That way we know who's participating and we can get some sense of where you live, and you'll get a sense of where other people live that are participating in Smoke Day 2019. So with that business out of the way, I've got 10 questions here that I'll go through. I got myself a nice cool glass of iced tea. So let's get to the questions. First question, I've seen a few videos for Weber grills where the snake method is used to smoke meat. Should this option be considered for the Weber Smokey Mountain versus the minion method? Well, generally, I think people using the snake or the C or the fuse method in the Weber Bullet when they're trying to do very low temperature smoking, for example, in the range of 140 to 170 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're looking for temperatures above that, it's a challenge to use the snake method to get higher temperatures up to the 225 range, 250. I think some people have tried it and it's difficult. So if you're looking for very low temperatures, 140 to 170, 180, I consider using the snake. If you want to go up into the normal 225 to 250, 275 range, I would suggest that you use the minion method. Question number 2. Do you have any recommendations for where to buy meat for barbecuing? What about mail order? Well, the obvious choices are places like Costco and Sam's Club. Costco has a reputation for very high quality meat. You can get good quality boneless pork butts and pork ribs there, both spare ribs and baby back ribs. They've got USDA prime briskets there as well, and they've got basic commodity chicken. So Costco is a good choice. Sam's Club has many of the same things. If you happen to live near a Costco business center, which is more of an expanded Costco that serves businesses, you can get in with your membership card and they have a wider variety of meats. You might want to check that out. Here in the San Francisco Bay Area where I live, there's one of those in Hayward. So go on to Costco.com and see where the nearest business center is for you. Restaurant Depot is an obvious choice. This is a wholesale restaurant supply business that supplies for restaurants. You need to have a business license to get into Restaurant Depot, but if you're a KCBS member, Kansas City Barbecue Society member, you can get in for free. So go to kcbs.us and look up member benefits and you'll find out how you can get into Restaurant Depot. They've got a lot of meats that competition cooks use for barbecue. You'll find good quality meat there as well. Other places that I've used are Smart and Final, Cash and Carry. In the Midwest, there's a place called Gordon Food Service. These are all not membership stores. They're retail stores that small businesses go to buy all sorts of restaurant supplies, and they do have some decent quality meat. Restaurant Depot would be a better choice. Costco would probably be a better choice, but those are some places you might check out. You also want to look out for wholesale meat sellers in your area. Sometimes they will sell to individuals, to private parties for cash. For example, here in the Bay Area where I live, there's a place called Del Monte Meats over in Oakland. They've been known to sell meat to individuals if you'll pay with cash. Although they're typically a wholesale business, you might check out places like that. Look for smaller meat retailers. Here in Northern California, there's a really nice place called Lakewood Meat, which is over in Lodi, the Central Valley. Southern California, there's a place called Alexander's Prime Meats in San Gabriel. These are specialty butcher shops that still exist where they're offering high quality meats. Creekstone Farms or USDA Prime Meat. They're offering good service as well. Try to seek out those places. You might have to get in the car and put a cooler in the back and travel to find them, but you might look for those places. And then finally, in terms of mail order, Snake River Farms, of course, is sort of the place that many barbecue competitors use for briskets in particular. They have a grade called black grade and a higher level called gold grade. They're quite expensive, but they're very high quality Wagyu beef. You might check those out if you're in the mood to spend a lot of money. CreekstoneFarms.com is a place that I've tried for USDA Prime Brisket. That was a source that Aaron Franklin is or was using for a long time for his briskets. Very high quality meat again. Brandt Beef, that's BRANDT Beef in Southern California, deep Southern California, down in Imperial Valley. They've got some very high quality meat that a lot of California barbecue teams have been using currently and in the past. And then, of course, on the East Coast, you've got famous places like Lobel's of New York, and you've got Pat LaFrida Meat in New York City. These are very expensive mail order outfits, but they will cut meat to order, custom pack it for you. They'll ship it overnight. You can't quarrel about the quality of their meat, but it definitely is an expensive choice for those items. So those are some of my thoughts about where you can get good quality meat for barbecuing. Question number 3. Hi Chris, are you interested in selling virtualweberbullet.com? Currently looking for potential sites to purchase, and it seems like there might be some opportunity here. Let me know if this sounds like something you might be interested in. That is an actual email and question that I got, and the answer is no, I'm not interested in selling. Question 4. I'm interested in learning about automatic temperature control devices for the Weber Bullet. Would you consider writing an article about the subject? I would really appreciate the information. I would love to have such an article. The problem is that I don't use automatic temperature control devices. I use my Weber Smokey Mountain Cooker, I guess naturally aspirated, you might say. But if you are an expert in automatic temperature control devices and you would like to write a guest article for the Virtual Weber Bullet, I would love to have you do that. I've been trying to get that done for many years and I've not been able to do it. So if you know a lot about the subject and you would be so kind as to contact me at the email address you see on the screen, I would love to talk to you about the possibility of having you write a guest article for the website on the subject of automatic temperature control. Question number 5. I just installed an unknown barbecue hinge on a 22.5-inch Smoky Mountain Cooker. Per the instructions, I installed it above one leg. Now I can push the middle section off the bottom section with one finger. First, I thought maybe I just needed to get used to it, but the middle section just came off again when I opened the lid. Did I do something wrong? Well, I don't think you did anything wrong. I think you probably have a poor fitting middle section. Sometimes they are a little bit loose and they can wobble back and forth, and when you put that hinge on with the weight of the hinge and then you tilt the lid open, that middle section not being really securely connected into the charcoal bowl will begin to tip and may even fall out in worst case scenario. So I think you need to consider another modification to latch that middle cooking section down to the charcoal bowl, and one obvious choice would, a really simple one in fact, would be the Hunsaker retainer clip. I will put a link to that product in the description of this video. It's a very simple clip that fastens up over the access door opening and then down to the lip of the charcoal bowl and keeps those two sections together. I think if you positioned your hinge in just the right place over a leg and put that clip on, you'd have no problem. Question number 6. Sometimes I obsess about weird things, like why do Weber grills have such odd dimensions like 14.5 inches, 18.5 inches, 22.5 inches, 26.75 inches, and 37.75 inches? What's the obsession with fractional inches? Do you have any idea? Well, I think that's a great question. I'm interested in trivia like that as well. And unfortunately, I don't know the answer to it, even though I reached out to one of my contacts at Weber who's involved in the manufacturing side of the business. He said that as far as he knows, that information is lost in the sands of time. And my contact said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they don't bother changing these dimensions after all these years. So if you have any information about why it is the way it is, why don't you let me know? Drop me a line at the email you see on the screen. Question number 7. I hear that some barbecue competitors are switching from the Smokey Mountain Cooker to drum smokers. Is that true? And if so, why? Well, I still see plenty of Smokey Mountain Cookers at barbecue competitions here in California, but I also see a lot of drums. And it is true that there are some people who have switched from Weber smokers to drums, mainly because they're convinced that they want to cook hot and fast. They like the idea that instead of starting their food at midnight, they can start it just a few hours before turn-in, basically start at 6 a.m., let's say, instead of at midnight. They can cook hot and fast in a drum and get a better night's sleep that way. Well, the reality is that you can cook hot and fast in the Smokey Mountain Cooker. A lot of people haven't tried it, but some have, and they find that it works just about as well as a drum. But, drums are having their moment in the sun right now, and there are a lot of good ones available on the market. Now, having said all that, I have also observed one particularly very successful team here in California, Burnin' and Luton, who switched from Smokey Mountain Cookers to drums, and then recently added a Weber smoker back into his mix. It's very common for you to see teams that will use a variety of smokers in competition, one of which will be a Weber bullet, and they might use it for their chicken, or they might use it for their ribs, or they might use it for their brisket. They'll use it for one of their meats in particular, and use other smokers for other meats. So I don't think the Smokey Mountain Cooker is going away anytime soon in competition, but we will see. Only time will tell whether the drum overtakes the Weber bullet or not. My guess is that it may not, because even though it is a drum, they're not exactly cheap. Some of them can be quite expensive, and the Smokey Mountain Cooker still represents a pretty good value in terms of getting yourself started in the sport of competition barbecue. Question number 8. Should chicken be cooked low and slow or hot and fast? Which is better? Well, you can do it both ways. I tend these days to do it hot and fast because you get slightly better skin. Let's be clear, the chase for crispy skin on chicken that's been smoked is kind of a fool's errand. The only way to really get crispy skin, I believe, is for you to fry chicken pretty much, or go to KFC. You can get better skin though in a Smokey Mountain Cooker if you'll cook it hot and fast with the skin side down, maybe no water pan in place. I have an article called Hot and Fast Chicken. I'll put a link up on the screen for that. You can check that out. You can always move the chicken skin side down right over the hot coals at the very end of cooking to get a little bit of extra crispness at the end. If you do chicken low and slow in the smoker, you will get beautiful looking skin, but it will tend to be rubbery and not that delicious. If all you care about is having smoky chicken that you can use for like pulled chicken sandwich, that's not a bad way to cook it. Do it low and slow and then discard the skin at the end and just use the meat. Or try to do it low and slow and again at the end put it skin side down directly over hot coals. But my tendency today is to do it hot and fast, and that's pretty much what I would recommend that you do. But you can do it either way. Question number 9. Do you have a favorite knife for trimming meat? Well, in fact, I do, and this is it right here. This is the Victorinox Fibrox handled flexible boning knife. You can get it at Amazon.com for a very reasonable price. It's not a particularly expensive or fussy knife. It's a stamped knife, not a forged knife, so it doesn't cost all that much. It's very comfortable to use. What I like about it is that it is, as the name implies, it is flexible, so you can work around bones on a pork butt if you're deboning or when you're working on chicken. I use it for trimming brisket and pork butt. It does a great job and not very expensive, and if you screwed it up, you wouldn't be at a huge loss because you could buy another one for not a whole lot of money. So I'll put a link to this knife in the description of the video. You should go check it out. Again, it's a Victorinox Fibrox handled flexible boning knife. And last but not least, question number 10. Do you have any suggestions on how to prevent cooking grates from rusting? Well, in order to have rust, you got to have, number one, a metal that tends to want to rust. Stainless steel doesn't rust. Porcelain coated metal doesn't want to rust. But a cooking grate where you've worn off the chrome finish, it will want to rust. So number one, a metal that wants to rust. Number two, you got to have oxygen, which is in the air. And number three, you got to have moisture, which is also in the air, or it could be in your cooker. If you leave your cooker outside without a cover on it, as you know, the rain hits this outside surface. It goes inside the middle cooking section, down into the bottom of the cooker, and now you've got water inside. Once there's water in there, and there's air in there, and there's a grate in there, that grate will want to rust. So first thing you can try is eliminate the moisture. Well, how do you do that? Well, first of all, put a cover or a tarp over your cooker that prevents water from getting inside the cooker. Number two, you could move the cooker, like I have it here, under a protected area where it doesn't get rained on, so that'll keep it dry inside. But that still might not be enough, because you might live near the ocean or in some very humid climate where there's just enough moisture in the air to cause rust. So in that case, what you need to do is you need to take the grate out of the cooker and move it to a location where it's less moist, where there's lower humidity, and that might be in your garage. What I do every time I cook is I clean my grates. I actually wash them, and I have a video that I can link to here that shows you how I do that. Once my grates are shiny and new looking, I don't put them back in the cooker. I put them in a cabinet in my garage where they're stored and they're nice and dry. And the next time I want to cook, I just pull them out and put them in the cooker. So again, you need to control for moisture, either by getting the cooker out of the rain, keeping water out of the cooker, or by getting the grates out of the cooker into a dry location. Well, that wraps it up for now. I want to thank you for watching. I appreciate you checking out my videos. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the videos. When you do that, it helps other people find them. I appreciate that very much. If you have questions for me, please feel free to email them to me at the address you see on the screen, and I will take a look and consider answering them in my next Q&A. And until next time, I want to thank you for watching, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye. This is a good quality knife. It will last you a long time. Because as you probably know, or maybe you've read, the way this cooker is designed, plain, 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 plain.